everybody. Happy Monday. It is Monday, and you know what that means. Today is book club, and it is so good to be here with you all. I don't know why it feels like it's been a long time since we've been back together. It just does, but I know that it hasn't been, but it just feels like it. Hello, Rosa. Hello. So thank you all for logging on. Listen, make sure you're letting everybody know that we are live on book club, right? Invite a friend, tag a friend to this live book club so that they can join us. I am Nina Moore, for those of you who might be here for the first time, and we are on book review of The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. As you're logging on, good evening, Tamara, Dunn, Chef Stacy, Renee, Bryant, Rosa. As you're logging on, y'all know what to do. Let me know what city, what state, and or what country you might be logging in from. We are normally, we used to be rather on Zoom, and for the last 3 weeks or so, we have been here live on YouTube. So this is a new platform, a new way of us doing things. And good evening, Letitia, Lanisha. Good evening. So go ahead, tag a friend, share this live with someone, put it on your Facebook pages. Let anybody know, whoever it is that's out there that wants to grow, right? Because this is all about personal growth and development. Good evening. I see Phoenix, Arizona is in the house. I see Delaware is now joining us. Again, we are reading The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. And so, you guys, it was a phenomenal read last week as we actually finished all of chapter 3. And I would love for you all, as you're logging on, to let everybody know in the chat. And Mom, hey Mom, hi Miss Mary. All right, Miss Mary has been joining us, listening to book club. I'm so grateful to have so many people of all different ages, of all different nationalities, right? All different ethnic backgrounds, because the one thing that can bring us together is reading, right? Now, I will tell you all, hello, Sean Dunnigan from Michigan. Listen, there was a time when I did not like to read. I didn't like to read. And there was also a time when I didn't really like vegetables. Well, I think the reason why my family, all of the kids in our family love vegetables, because I found a way to make them taste amazing without taking all of the benefits away from the vegetables. Good evening, Tedra Gordon from Philadelphia. I have found a way, Deborah Moore, to help you enjoy reading. So if you all are watching, how many of you would agree that perhaps maybe you didn't enjoy reading, but perhaps you enjoy reading? Not Letitia Richard, because Letitia loves books. But I know for me, I didn't really enjoy reading. And I now really enjoy reading because I understand it a lot more, right? And I think that part of reading, you actually need to get a basic fundamental understanding, one, of what the author is saying, of what that book is actually saying, what those words are saying to us. It's an important. She said, this book has taken my reading to another level. Oh, yes. Let me go ahead and post that. I love reading, but stopped reading for so long, and I want to get back to reading better books. There it is. Now, I will tell you that when I did begin to read, and you guys might see me pausing to drink a little water, not because I'm trying to be rude, but because I'm trying to keep my throat from getting dry, because I'm dealing with like allergies and things like that. I don't know who told the allergies. Anyway, right here in Georgia, this season is vicious. And so you might see me stopping to drink a little water. Please don't think I'm being rude. I just want to kind of give you the forewarning that I just want to make sure that that I'm staying that my voice, my throat, vocal cords are staying lubricated. He could hear it on my live, so that I'm okay. All right, so I don't know, you guys. We've gone through several books: Winning, Relentless, Acres of Diamonds. We As a Man Thinketh. I mean, we've read tons of books here in book club, but I would venture to say that I think I'm going to, I think I'm going to venture to say that I believe that this book right here is the best one yet. This book is on a whole nother level. And so if you've been with us since the beginning, or maybe you joined us, excuse me, in the last few weeks, let me know, what is your greatest takeaway? She said, my books were not my thing until 2018. All right. What's been your greatest takeaway from this book? And if you're also reading this book with us, you probably want to watch The Matrix. It's going to help you understand, especially chapter 2. All right. Especially chapter 1 and 2. So let's go ahead and start reading chapter 4. We're reading The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. Chapter 4. One more and the 5 principles of time management. One more and the 5 principles of time management. Every day is a new life to a wise man. And that is a quote by Dale Carnegie. Every day is a new life to a wise man. So everyone accepts there are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour. And most of us still think that there are 24 hours in a single day. You're probably thinking, of course we do. That's how many hours there are in a day, right? Not if you're a high performer. Not if you're a one more thinker. Instead, what if I could show you how to bend and manipulate time to your maximum advantage? And for those of you that have watched The Matrix, you will totally understand what I mean by that, right? One more thinkers don't get 24 hours in a day. There you go, to keep going no matter what. Doing it when you don't get the results right away. There you go. Consistency is key. There was a question asked to me several times. It's been asked to me, like, Nina, how many times do you reach out? How many times do you follow up? What do you do? When my answer is whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. That's what I do. Whatever it takes. So I'm going to show you how we get 3 days in a single 24-hour block of time. I know it sounds crazy, but it's not. And I will tell you that I 100% understand this, because my mission today was to get 3 days worth of work done. You can ask Paul. 3 days worth of work done. Still spend time with Paige. Pick her up from school. I took her to school. I went to the gym. I made, had some phone calls. Enrolled some business partners. Went to the market. Fixed dinner. And here I am now on book club. And I've gotten content done for the next 3 or 4 days. So how does that happen? How do you bend or manipulate time to make sure that now time is on your side, even when other people are saying that there are only 24 hours in a day? As much as anything else, this principle has contributed to my success since I first started using it more than 20 years ago. Along with the other time management principles that I employ, I've used to triple the number of days I have, and that has helped me to triple my amount of productivity. Right? Who's ready to triple their amount of productivity? One more thinkers. Hello, Yvette. Hello, Sally. One more thinkers perceive time differently. And now I'm going to teach you how to do the same thing. Your relationship with the perception of time. As a matter of fact, let's look up the definition of the word time. All right? Because y'all know how we do. We don't just read. Let's look up, because I know that I have a hard time getting people to come into the studio. Time. Let's look up the definition of time. Time is the indefinite continued progress. Oh my gosh. I need y'all to hear this definition. Time is the indefinite continued progress of existence. Time, by definition, is the indefinite continued progress of existence and events in the past, present, and future regarded as whole. A point of time as measured in hours and minutes past midnight or noon. So that's when you box time in, right? Time, plan, schedule, and the verb. But listen to this. The noun word of time means the indefinite continued progress of existence and events in the past, present, and future, regarded as a whole, is the noun. But the verb of time is to plan, schedule, or arrange when something should happen or be done. Verb of time is the measure the time taken by a process, an activity, or a person doing it. That is the verb of time. So you keep going because there is no end when you understand the word and its meaning. Time is the indefinite continued progress of existence. So now let's look up the word indefinite. Let's look up the word indefinite. Hold on, indefinite. The definition of the word indefinite. Hold on. Indefinite means lasting for an unknown or unstated length of time. Indefinite means not clearly expressed or defined. It could be vague. So if time, the noun, is an indefinite continued progress of existence, it means that time is an unknown or unstated length of time. Continued progress of existence. Unknown. No measure. All right, you guys? It is very important for us to understand what that word means. So as much as anything else, this principle has contributed. Okay, so your relationship with the perception of time. Let's talk about the definition of perception. Y'all know what we do. Definition of perception. What is perception? Perception, ow! Perception, listen, is the ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through your senses. Perception is the ability to see, the ability to hear, or become aware of something through your senses, which could mean that perhaps you don't physically see it. Perception is the state of being or process of becoming aware of something. The state of being or the process of becoming aware of something. Perception. So your relationship now with the perception of time. Time is a constant, but we treat it as a variable. Time is a constant, but why are we treating time as a variable? How often have you heard these expressions? I want to know, y'all. I want to know. So let's get some of these definitions up here. These are amazing. Now, how many people now are feeling like, oh my gosh? Because you never even took the time to look up the real meaning of these words, because we just thought that time is the measure of something. Time. Which is why we have to break these words down so that we understand or have cognizance of what we're reading. What is the author trying to say based on the real definition of these words? So, how many people have heard these expressions? This day is taking forever. That month sure did fly by. And here's the personal favorite. Here's the personal favorite. I can't believe the weekend is over already. Through our experiences, age, current circumstances, how much rest we get, and how busy we are, our perception of time is continuously shifting. our perception of time, right, is continuously shifting. Scientists call this mind time, and it's completely different than clock time. So we've got mind time and we've got clock time. Y'all got it? We've got mind time and we've got clock. Let me give y'all this link even though I did put it in my chats, let me put it here for anybody who might want to come into the studio with me. You actually need to copy and paste this link into your browser if you want to actually join into the studio. You can't just click the link. You got to copy that and paste it in your browser, preferably on Safari. Okay, not Chrome, but Safari. Mind time is what the speed of time feels like, and clock time is a constant chronology measured by the ticking hands of a timepiece on a wall. Time is a fundamental element of our being and how we perceive the world around us. Our sense of who we are is shaped by how our brain connects our memories, our present sensations, and our anticipation of the future. Neuroscientists, linguistics, psychological, and cognitive experts have studied the perception of time extensively for hundreds of years. Among other things, researchers know that perceived duration is unique to every individual and does not focus on a singular sensory system. Instead, time perception is a blended distribution system that involves the cerebral cortex, the cerebellum, and the basal ganglia. Here's the takeaway. Once you understand that you can alter how you perceive time, somebody ought to write that in the chat. So I can alter how I perceive time. You can begin to bend time and use it to your advantage. Should I read that part again? Once you understand that you can alter how you perceive time, you can begin to bend time and use it to your advantage. Ow, that's so good. Time, excuse me, is your most valuable asset. Somebody ought to type that in the chat. Time is our most valuable asset because we can alter how we perceive time. Time is more valuable than money. I'm going to take a sip of water, you guys. Time is more valuable than money. Money is a replenishable resource. You can always add more dollars to your bank account, but you cannot add more time to your life. Your time is infinite. If you're 40, you can't turn back the calendar and become 30 again. Authors, artists, songwriters, and poets have romanticized time throughout the ages. The two most powerful warriors are patience and time. Now, I know some of y'all going to be like, what is she talking about? Can't nobody bend no time. Then you probably ought to get off the book club right now. Because based on the definition of the words, we control time. Mind time. We may not be able to control clock time, but we control mind time. All right? The wisest are the most annoyed at the loss of time, which is why I am so annoyed when people are late. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed when things have to start late. I'm annoyed because time is the thing that you can't get back. And my time is valuable. Your time is valuable. Or perhaps you don't realize how valuable your time is. So when you don't realize how valuable your time is, then you don't value other people's time. So my favorite thought about time, back to the book, may be the simplest and they attributed to Benjamin Franklin, who said, time is money. Time is money. When your time is over, you get no replays. You can't reclaim time. However, our most valuable asset is frequently manipulated. When your time is over, you get no replays. So it's like my business has a end to the week, Tuesday nights at midnight. At 12:01, we don't get a redo. At 12:01 a.m. We do not get a redo. It's done. Can't get a replay. Mind time, listen, is perceived time and is directly related to the brain's interpretation of several variables. As we get older, the rate that our brain processes mental images and how quickly they are perceived decreases. It's part of the natural aging process. Our vision and our brain plasticity lessen. Our neural pathways that transmit informative degrade, and these shifts lead us to a sense of time speeding up. Even though an individual act happens in a fraction of a second, it takes longer to get to the same place. We lose that fraction of a second thousands of times a day. There are several other variables we can't control as well. When we're physically tired, our brains can't transfer and process information as quickly. Our tired brains can't optimally see and make sense of visual, auditory, or tactile input. Our reaction time slows, and this also makes us feel as if time is speeding up, where in reality, it's just us slowing down in relation to the rest of the world. That's why athletes who aren't well rested will play a bad game. Their ability to process is thrown off. That knocks their sense of timing out of balance. They can't see or respond to in-game variables effectively, which is one of the reasons why even the best shooters in the NBA sometimes go for 4 for 20 from the field. Psychological trauma, drug use, intense feelings of fear or shock, ADHD, autism, depression, schizophrenia, and other factors also contribute heavily to altering perceptions of time. The 5 principles of time management. This is so good. This is so good. Over the past 20 years, I've immersed myself in the concept of maximizing my time to accomplish my goals. Maximizing my time to accomplish my goals. What I discovered early on is that you must respect the nature of time. High achievers universally embrace this is a foundation of their success. As much as any other variable, your relationship to time can profoundly affect how far you go in life. See, there are some people that operate, I'm not in the book right now. Now I'm talking. There are some people that operate as if they got all the time in the world, which is why they move so slow. They have no energy and they move so slow. And they make excuses. They make excuses because they think, oh, I got time. I mean, I'll get to it. I'm not stuck. But you ever see somebody who they never move with any urgency? Everything they do is done in there's a scene in the Matrix, Tedra, where they're fighting and everything is in like slow motion. Have y'all ever seen that there are people that operate in their lives like that? Everything they do, how they talk, how they move, slow motion. Everything's in slow motion. So your relationship to time can profoundly affect how far you go in life. That's why, Lanisha, they always gonna get to it tomorrow. They always gonna do that next week. And then there's a mound of clothes. There's a mound of crap. There's a mound of, because it was always, I'm going to do that next week. I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to do that next week. Get rid of it already. I've tried all sorts of time management strategies. I've added and subtracted parts of various philosophies that make sense to me. And eventually I developed my own system that I refer to as the 5 principles of time management. If you can adapt and master these principles in your own life, you'll enjoy more success, make more money, and be more productive. And add layers of bliss and build the life you are meant to enjoy. Let's take a look at these 5 principles. Now, you know what's so crazy? No, ain't nobody got time for no slow motion. Nope. Here's what's so crazy, Robin. What you put off today, right? The things that you put off today will later on in life affect your quality of life, because time, I'll go back. Here's what happens, Tedra. The time that you should be now working on something else, you too busy cleaning up stuff that you should have did 5 years ago, 2 weeks ago, one day ago. Now here you are in your future self in a position where you should be running into another area or direction, but you too busy cleaning up 10 years ago, 5 years ago, last week's stuff, because you didn't do it when you were supposed to. So let me go back. Your relationship to time profoundly affect how far you go in life. Then it says, we're just talking about at that point, the 5, we're leading into the 5 principles of time management. 1, add more days to your day. Ready for this? 1, add more days to your day. Sorry, y'all. I told y'all, right? One more thinkers should set aside the notion of a 24-hour day. And then they get mad at everybody else, right? The 24-hour day worked well before we had the internet, smartphones, wireless technology, computerized cars, jets, satellites, and other tools that let us expand our footprint and move at the speed of light. We can now send an email anywhere in the world in an instant. We can hold a teleconference with dozens or hundreds of people 24/7. Instead of going to the library or digging through an encyclopedia, we can Google anything and get answers in a matter of seconds. The ability to accomplish tasks has multiplied exponentially. Accessing information, people, and locations take place with lightning speed immediacy. That's why if you want to be a high achiever, the 24-hour day is an antiquated concept in my world, and for all one more thinkers, it no longer applies. We're now able to accomplish more in 5 minutes, 1 hour, or 1 day than we could in an entire week or month 100 years ago. Our ability to compress time is our ability to bend and manipulate time for our best purposes. Guess what that does for your goals? Guess what that does for your goals? It puts them in your face like never before. And when you're closer to a goal, you naturally approach it with greater urgency. Here's a mindset you can put into practice today. It's effective. I've been doing it for more than 20 years now, so I know that it works. From time to time, you'll have one of those days where everything is falling in line. You'll be able to knock out a ton of stuff and be more productive in 4 or 5 hours than you are in one of your normal full days. Or maybe you've had a day where you knock out more than you have in an entire month. What if you could replicate that rush every day? Here's how. Y'all ready? Here's how. Here's how. Instead of approaching your day as a single block of time, divide your waking hours into 3 equal parts or mini days. Mini, M-I-N-I. Mini, not many, but mini days. For me, that means my first day runs from 6 a.m. to noon. My second day is from noon to 6 p.m. And my third day is from 6 p.m. to midnight. I know, Tedra. I done lost Shammy. I done lost most of the people now. They like midnight. While you're living 7 days in 1 week, I'm living 21 days in 1 week. To turbocharge how I spend my time, this is how I do it. By creating shorter days, my mind believes that each minute becomes more valuable. I don't waste time because my sense of urgency is operating at a higher level. That is why, y'all, that is why I get so much done, because my sense of urgency is always at an all-time high. Instead, I'm focused even more on what I need to accomplish today. I compress work, relationships, productivity, fitness, and fun into shorter and more intense pieces of time with this strategy. I shrink the finish line so that more of what I do becomes a sprint. Oh, we're on track because we get up at 6 a.m. and we start our days off with a power hour. All right, you guys? Don't lose sight of the fact that your life is still in balance. You still make time for all parts of your life. All that you're doing is squeezing useless air out of the wasted parts of your day. At first, you may be intimidated by attempting to do this, but as you give it a try, you'll replace the old habits with effective new ones. You'll move faster and have greater control of your time. You know, there's a song, time keeps on slipping into the future. Some of y'all missed that. Here's the cool part. If you implement this mindset, imagine the compounding effect of working 21 days a week for a month, a year, or a decade, or for the rest of your life. Now, compare that to the people who compete against, the people you compete against who look at their days as a single 24-hour block of time. In my mind, I'm living more than 1,000 days in the same time frame as others who think of themselves as living a 365-day year. You know what's so crazy? Let me tell you what's so crazy. I put a video in my stories today of a 91-year, I think she's 90 or 91-year-old woman who's walking, lifting, bending, stretching, exercising, lifting weights, driving 90. Did y'all see what I very, very coherent, very agile, very active. What makes her any different? And I already started processing me at 90 with the same energy, with the same mobility, with the same frame of mind, with the same why. Because I'm controlling it. I'm not letting my body go any old which kind of way. I'm controlling my thoughts. I'm controlling my actions. I'm controlling my time. And you can too. You can too. So who has the advantage? You already know the answer. I am a living example of what this strategy can do for you. And my results have been pretty good so far. So number one was add more days to your day. Add more days to your day. Number two, approach time with a greater sense of urgency. The German philosopher, author Schopenhauer, I think his name is, right, once said, the common man is not concerned about the passage of time. The man of talent is driven by it. Do you want to be common or do you want to be a person of talent? I didn't say it, the book did. Urgency. Urgency is the key. And I always say to my business partners in the beginning of the month, start your month with urgency so that you don't end in emergency. Everything that we do should be an urgent state of mind. Let's look up the word of urgency. Let's look up the word urgency. Let's look it up. Urgency. Urgency is the importance requiring swift action. Urgency is an earnest and persistent quality, insistence. It is a noun. Urgency. Urgency is the key. From my experience, there is a direct correlation between how fast you run versus how close you are to the finish line. If you watch distance runners in a race, why does that last lap or leg of the race invariably produce some of the race's fastest times? In a 26-mile marathon, you keep a steady pace. As you get closer to the finish line, your adrenaline kicks in and you find another gear. Type that in the chat, y'all. Find another gear. Find another gear. But there are some people that even in an urgent status, they move at the same, they're like at the same gear. It's like the chain that came off the bike. Find another gear, right? You push yourself, listen, and you find another gear. You push yourself because you're closer to completing your task and crossing that finish line. That produces a release of endorphins and you feel that warm and positive rush. Now think about it. Think about running a 100-meter race. It's a flat out sprint from start to finish. You approach the race with maximum urgency. Type that in the chat. Maximum urgency. A different mindset is required to do your best. Your body and your brain respond to a different set of stimuli. So a marathon or a sprint, when you know that you are sprinting, your mind has to operate with a different stimuli. You need a different, that's right, a different plan, a different strategy. You've got to operate with maximum urgency. A different mindset is required to do your best. A different mindset is required to do your best. A different mindset is required to do your best. It's not that people approach life with a lack of vision that causes them to fail. No, it's the type of vision they call on to get across the finish line. Come on, y'all. Your depth perception affects your ability to summon that sense of urgency required to perform better. When the goal is further away, you jog toward that goal. When it's right in front of you, it's a sprint. Here's another example. You're a student who is assigned to a major project at the beginning of the semester with a deadline toward the end of the semester. Do you jump on that project immediately? Most people put it on cruise control. They quietly slip it onto the top shelf of their life, knowing that they'll deal with it later. That is until the deadline starts to creep up. At some point, panic, fear, dread, thoughts of, I hate college, and I think I'll just become a bartender kick in. But if you had attacked the project with a sense of urgency as soon as possible, the looming shadow, the boogeyman, the beast you're facing would be reduced to almost nothing. So now for those of you in business, it's the end of the month. You've got quotas to meet, but you had a whole month. If you apply this thinking to everything you do throughout the day, the week, or the year, you'll get more done and enjoy a sense of accomplishment that others only dream about. So, number one was add more days to your day. Number two was approach time with a greater sense of urgency. So, the 90-day launch is a sprint, it is not a marathon. And as I was on the plane leaving the Dominican Republic yesterday, and as I looked out the window, and the pilot said, "We've been cleared for takeoff." I want you all to know you have been cleared for takeoff. And in order for that, and then I sat there and I wanted to be 100% present for the takeoff. And as I felt everything in the plane go into maximum urgency, it needed to go into maximum urgency to get off the ground. You don't wait to the end of the flight to go into maximum urgency. You go into maximum urgency in the beginning of the sprint, in the beginning of the run. Number three, learn how to control time instead of time controlling you. Now, I know y'all probably mad because this book is kicking us in the behind. When you manage your time with a sense of urgency, you become the master instead of the servant. When you manage your time with a sense of urgency, you become the master instead of the servant. Now, we complain about what they did to our ancestors and that they were slaves, and you done made yourself a slave all over again to time. Uh-oh. Moving faster puts you in control of your time more often than not. You have a sense of urgency, but you also have a greater say in what you think is important. That lets you spend more time on what's meaningful and rewarding to you. So you can control what's important when you move with urgency. But at the end, when you got quotas to meet, you got to do whatever it takes to meet it, because you let all that time slip away while you figured, well, I got the whole month. It's the first week of the month. Was she acting? Nina act like it's the end of the month. It's the first week of the month. My God, it's the first day. Why is she all intense? That lets you spend more time on what's meaningful and rewarding to you. Controlling your time is a mindset that should turn on as soon as your brain wakes up in the morning. If your mind is in the right place, controlling your time will start even before your feet hit the floor in the morning. As you're waking up, your brain is already planning your day. Do you pay attention to what those first thoughts of the day are? The first 30 minutes of your day are critical. Think about the timely words of British statesman Lord Chesterfield. Take care of the minutes, and the hours will take care of themselves. How you approach the first 30 minutes of your day will set the tone for the balance of the hours to follow. That means staying away from your phone, computer, television, or any other forms of input that can distract you from what's important in your life, unless you work from your phone. That's different. You need to understand what he means. That means you don't get caught scrolling, right? Instead, use that 30 minutes to plan out your day. Review your meetings, phone calls, and projects. Create priorities. Meditate, pray, stretch, practice equanimity. Reaffirm your standards. Update yourself on your goals. Go exercise. Go move your body. Get up. Go move your body. Before your brain becomes cluttered with people, events, and information of the day, it has a chance to focus. Your brain receives the message that you're in control instead of the world controlling you. Hey, Tangelie, you're better able to start the day filled with confidence and the purposes that you choose. Of course, surprises, changes, and redirection will spring up throughout the day. You react accordingly. But when you're not dealing with the unexpected, you're in greater control and working toward your life goals instead of reacting to everyone else. In other words, dictate the terms of your day, or your day will dictate those terms for you. So, why I always say, start your month with urgency so you don't end in emergency, and so that you dictate your actions for the month. You dictate your money for the month. You dictate it. Because most of us are like, well, I'm a woman of my word. I said I would get it done. Number three. Number three was learn how to control time instead of time controlling you. Number four, measure your performance often. When performance is measured, performance improves. Close proximity to measurement is critical. Every leading motivational and organization expert, from Zig Ziglar to Peter Drucker, builds this idea into our foundational strategies for a simple reason. Measuring performance works. As you shrink your time frames and increase your urgency, you also need to shrink the intervals of how often you measure your performance. If you don't take time to measure, you'll have a more difficult time course correcting. That leads to inefficiency and wasted time. Just make sure you're measuring the right things. Be clear on your goals, priorities, and your standards. Understand how they work in concert with each other, meaning in harmony with each other. All right? Learn to identify not only weaknesses, but the potential sources of those weaknesses. Identify what your weaknesses are. Stop giving yourself excuses or room or leeway to keep having those weaknesses, but identify them. Right? If you don't take time to measure, you'll have a more difficult time course correcting, which leads to inefficiency and wasted time. So understand how they work in concert with each other. Learn to identify not only weaknesses, but the potential sources of those weaknesses. If you're spending time on the phone all day long with people, with your girlfriends, kiki kaka, I'm telling y'all, I don't have time for that. I don't have that kind of time in my life. If you're doing more time doing that than working on a plan, working on a goal, having meetings, talking to prospects, moving your business forward, moving your products, then something's wrong. Something's wrong. Legendary UCLA basketball coach John Wooden put it into perspective, saying, if you don't have the time to do it right, when will you have the time to do it again? If you don't have the time to do it right, when will you have the time to do it again? Wooden was a stickler for doing things the right way. Write down how his players tied their shoes. He fine-tuned every technique and process on his teams for years, accepting only one standard and measuring the interim steps almost daily. One standard. Excellence. That's all I want around me right now. One standard. I don't want whiners. I don't want excuses. I don't want lazies. I don't want sluggards. I want excellence around me in this season. Excellence. It's my standard. That's what I want around me. Don't come around me if you don't have no energy. I don't want it around me. I don't want no drama and trauma around me. I want excellence around me. It is my standard because I know what I want. It is my standard. I'm operating right now off of about 2 hours of sleep. It's my standard. I'm not complaining. I don't look like it. I don't sound like it. I don't have to walk around. You know what's amazing? You know what's amazing? What's amazing, Robin Owens, is that some people wait to get around other people so they can be like, yeah, I'm just tired. When are you going to close the case on the past? When are you going to stamp case closed? Lord, as you continue to help me heal, case closed. Lord, as you continue to renew my mind, case closed. Because you believe that healing makes you what? Look crazy, like you're not supposed to be healed, delivered, set free, but you're a believer? And God is saying the moment that you use this and take this and shift the perception and shift the perception and say, now how do I use this for your glory? God, some days it might hurt, but I need healing and case closed so you can move forward and live. I don't know who that was for. Case closed. Standard. Live. If your goal is to run a 5-minute mile or to bump your sales by 50% or your income by $50,000, how will you know if you're reaching these goals unless you look at the numbers? Anything less, and you're just throwing darts and hoping that you'll hit the target. Average people assess themselves once or twice a year, but only making New Year's resolutions is not appropriate for one more thinkers. Top performers measure themselves monthly or weekly. Every week I'm saying, okay, what do I need to do now? What was I doing when I had my most success? What was I doing? You measure it. How much time did you spend on your business? How much time did you spend on your body? How much time are you spending? You know, there are people that won't join us for book club because they don't see the reason. They don't see the importance of needing to grow. Average people assess themselves. Average people assess them. I hope y'all heard the word. Average people assess themselves once or twice a year. Average. Anybody on here average or striving to be average? Do you take stock of your week's accomplishments on Friday evening? Do you take stock and set your plans for the coming week on a Sunday evening? The top performers, the one more thinkers, go through this process every single day. There's even one more level beyond daily measurements. Some people measure themselves hourly. The most elite have an internal mechanism that is triggered with urgency. I have trained myself to do this, and I'm not lying when I tell you, as hard as it sounds, this discipline has served me well. Think for a moment. Who's going to do better? The person who shrinks their measurement interval or the person who rarely measures where they're at? You already know this answer too. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this. We might go a little bit past 7, but I'm going to finish because we're almost done. Number 5, focus on the future. Too many people are stuck in the past. Now, y'all know I didn't know that it was going to say this. We are reading this together. I'm not going ahead to read. But we done already went there, right? Too many people are stuck in the past. That kills their ability to be productive in the present. If you are stuck in the past, it kills your ability to be productive in the present. And that robs them of making plans for the future. I'm going to read that one more time. Too many people are stuck in the past. That kills their ability to be productive in the present, and it robs them of making plans for the future. The past is gone forever. But until you let go of it, the past is a thief. It's a thief. It's a thief, and it steals your ability to dream and imagine. You need to spend time thinking about the future because that's where you're heading. You must also stay connected to the present because that's how to build a future, a better future. It drives me nuts when I see so many people stuck in a loop of how their lives would be different today if only that one big thing had been different. People getting out of bad relationships or trying to distance themselves from poor family dynamics are particularly vulnerable to past thinking. This isn't to say that you should not address the trauma of your past. You must find a way to process it and move forward. If you can't, the only person you're hurting is you and the people you care about right now. Conversely, don't fall into the trap of falling in love with your past. Hold on, I gotta drink some water on that one. Conversely, don't fall into the trap of falling in love with your past. If you hadn't had great things happen, whether you've earned an advanced college degree, got a big job promotion, got married, and so on, those things are nice. But if you rest on those laurels too much, you're still not living in the present and building a better future. As Coco Chanel once said, don't spend time beating on a wall, hoping to transform it into a door. One more thinkers have the innate ability to spend time dreaming and imagining about their future while taking decisive actions in the present to shape what lies ahead. Changing others' perception of you. When you incorporate the 5 principles of time management into your life, how others see you is going to change too. When people see you're no longer wasting time, they begin to not waste your time. Let me say that again. When people see that you are no longer wasting time, they begin to not waste your time. They see you're no longer spending too much time taking care of other people's priorities because you're too focused on taking care of your own. At work, you need to be reasonable about this. Find a way to make your employer's goals your goals and blend the two to create harmony. Your friends, family, and coworkers will understand that you're in an attack mode in your life instead of a react mode. So, my friends and family right now know that I am in an attack mode. I am not in react. I am making things happen. I'm not waiting for things to happen. They will respect you and your relationship with them will be redefined. It's an added benefit that alters your life because your newfound time management is actually newfound life management. Also, as you change your approach to time, you'll be open to meeting new like-minded people and embark on new projects and adventures you may have thought were just a pipe dream. Let me leave you with this one final thought about time from Charles Darwin. A man who dares to waste 1 hour of time has not discovered the value of life. Stop wasting time and start bending time to your advantage to get on with the important things in your life. So ends the reading of chapter 4. Next week we will read one more emotion. And let me see. And we will get through chapter 5 as well. One more emotion. We'll read that next week. Let me know how y'all feeling about this. Is there anybody that wants to come into the chat to have a little bit of a few minutes of conversation with me before we end? Is there anybody that wants to come into the chat? I gave you guys the link. Anybody that wants to come into the chat? Anybody? Anybody want to come into the chat? This was good right here. This was so good. It's like, woo, challenging, but this was good. Anybody want to come into the studio with me? Going once, going twice. Anybody want to come into the studio with me? Come on. We got Coach Chris. All right, I got to wait till I don't see you. I see that you connected, but I don't see you. This was so good. Coach Chris, I'm just waiting to see you so I can add you to the stream. There we go. There we go. Now, and what's up?
What's this, man?
What's going on?
No, I got my hair all pulled up. You see the t-shirt, right. Chris?
What you think about today's reading?
Hold on, let me cut this phone off. I hear background noise and everything. I just got on. I text Paul and say, "Hey man, is book club going on right now?" And he was like, "Yeah, right now." So I was just able to get to the desk and everything like that. But what I've already heard, the thing that you said that about a man that does not value his time has not learned the meaning of life. Oof. That's like either ouch or amen, right? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I know this doggone phone being on Facebook and scrolling a whole hour can go by, right? And we think we doing business, but then all of a sudden you look up a whole and you laugh and you don't look at a 4 different baby memes, animal memes, looking at Tony Baker, we laugh and all that kind of stuff, and we ain't done no business. You know what I'm saying? So do I really know the value of time? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I have to look at me in the mirror and say, come on, Chris, let's make it happen. You said something earlier. You said, do we have $1 million habits? You said that on a live earlier today. You want to make $1 million, but do you have $1 million habits? That's $1 million habit, knowing the value of time. So I didn't even know you was going to bring me on. I clicked the link.
I'm laughing, you know what? Because the thing is, we produce after our habits.
Mm-hmm.
We produce, like, it's a natural, we can't escape it, that we produce after our habits. So if we have $1 million habits, right? You know what's so crazy? We were looking at this weekend while we were in the Dominican Republic, and I was looking at a lot of our business partners, like from Bolivia and Costa Rica, and there was some there from Mexico, and some of them from the Dominican Republic, and just people from all over the world that were there this weekend, right? And as I was looking at them, and we were looking at some of them just look so, I mean, they just beautiful. Chris, I mean, you know, I'm excited because oftentimes when we see in the ethnic wellness companies, we don't see the wellness look. We see the wellness company, but we don't see the wellness look. And as I was looking at all the other ethnicities, and I was looking at the way that they look, there was one thing that Tanisha and I were talking about, and we were talking about the fact that a person that can see you physically fit knows that you've got discipline. And if you have the discipline to get physically fit, you have the discipline to make anything else in your life happen.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, Chris, there are people that are on the outside watching, and they're saying, kind of waiting, and honestly, even rooting you. Like, they're rooting, like, well, hopefully maybe this time this one will work for them. Maybe this one will. And the thing is, it's the discipline and the consistency. And just like this chapter just said, making the decision to assess yourself. Okay, where are you? And it's so crazy that I know I say it every month to our team on the opening of the month. I say, start your month with urgency so that you don't end in emergency. But even today, when we broke down that word time,
fire.
The word time literally is like, whoa, we thinking we're measuring time. And no, it's like saying, no, there is no time. There's no measurement of that. It's literally what we make happen. And so thanks for coming into the studio. Listen, this is The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. We're here every Monday night at 6 p.m. You guys, thanks again, Chris. I'm gonna go ahead and drop you out of the studio. If there's, and is there anybody? Do we got one more? Do we have one more person that that wants to come into the studio before we go? This was so powerful, and I know that we're about 5 minutes over, but it was a powerful, powerful, powerful chapter. For those of you that are still on, drop your greatest takeaway from this chapter. And it's just funny because I just keep hearing that song, time keeps on slipping, 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 right? There were so many bold, not nuggets, but boulders in this chapter for me. I don't even know where to start. So many, but all right, Rosa, I'm gonna bring you up.
Hello, how are you?
You. What's up, Rose?
Yeah, I'm about to go to the gym soon. I said I had to get on.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us.
It was so transformational when you said about leaving the past behind, because sometimes you keep going back instead of looking forward, and then it's a distraction. So then you're wondering why you're not going anywhere, because you keep looking back. You're not planning for the next day, or you're not planning out your week, like you said, or planning out the next steps. Because because I hear all the time, oh, I didn't get enough done because today is already over. But end of the day, oh, I didn't get this done. But the thing is, did you plan out your steps? Did you plan your day to be productive? Did you plan your day to reach your goals in anything? If I don't hit my goals in anything I have, my business or my position, it's because of me. I can't blame nobody else, because I make an excuse. I don't start with urgency. And that's what I liked about what you said, urgency. And I'm now for next month. Well, I'm gonna do it now. I ain't gonna worry about next month. I'm gonna start now.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Thank you. Well, enjoy yourself at the gym. Thank you for joining us, and I hope to see you next Monday.
Yes.
All right. Awesome sauce. Awesome. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this was awesome. This was super awesome. Thank you all. For a man who dares to waste 1 hour of time has not discovered the value of life. That's what Chris Courtney was talking about, you guys. If you don't have to do it, time to do it right, when will you have the time to do it again? There it is. Right. There were so many nuggets, dividing the day into days, biggest takeaway, right? So take a moment to rewatch this so that you can go back through what the book says, you guys, and meet us next Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live for chapter 5, One More Emotion. All right, you guys, listen, let's just say that perhaps you know that today is what? The third, is it the 13th? Yes, the 13th. And perhaps you have not been moving with urgency. Start today. Do it now. All right, you guys. So my name is Nina Moore, you guys, and I'm so grateful that you decided to spend your evening here with me. And always remember that no matter what you're going through in life, that you can live again, laugh again, hope again, dream again, and you most certainly can bling again. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.